Returning to our demonstration of list boxes and combo boxes, we will now turn our attention to the use of properties with the list boxes and combo boxes. The list of items that displays in a list box or combo box is called a collection. In fact, there is a property called the items collection property. Clicking on my list box, which I've renamed to named list box, you go to the items property and then you see an item called collections. By clicking on the ellipsis button, that will open up what's called the string collection editor. This is one way of adding items to your list box. If you know the list contents at design time and the list will not change, you can define the items collection in the properties window. If you must add items to the list during program execution, you will want to use the add or insert methods in event procedures. This will be discussed in a separate movie. The items property, which is a collection, holds the list of items for a list box or combo box. So what I'm demonstrating will be applicable to both list boxes and combo boxes. Once you have the string collection editor open, you simply begin typing items. For example, I can type my names in my string collection editor by simply typing names followed by the enter key. This is a very simple text file which allows me to enter data. Once I'm done entering my items, I simply click the OK button. As you now see on the form, the list box now contains the list. If I expand the list, you'll notice that as I expand the list, Visual Basic will automatically adjust and provide the necessary scroll bars. If I make the list box large enough to accommodate the items in the list, the scroll bar is not necessary, so therefore it goes away. If on the other hand I reduce the size of my list box, as you see, the scroll bar will appear as necessary. This scroll bar will appear at runtime. I'll run the program. It allows the user to scroll through the list without any additional code from you. So this is a real nice feature of Visual Basic, in that the scroll bars are automatically created for you and they function perfectly. If you decide that you want to add items to the list, you simply go back to the items property, reopen the collection, and as you will see, the items are in the list. Now keep in mind, every time this program is executed, the list of names that you're now seeing will populate the text property, that is the items collection property, of the list box. If you want to create an initial list in the combo box, you would follow a similar pattern. That is, you simply go to the combo box itself, go to the items property, click on the collection ellipsis, and here you see the same string collection editor, but now this would be for the combo box. I'll cancel this and only have items in the list box for this demonstration. Another property which is important to understand when dealing with list boxes and combo boxes is the property called selected index. This property is only available during runtime. That is, you will not see it in the properties window. You will not see the selected index in the properties window at design time. The selected index property stores the index location of each item in the list. Keeping in mind that the list contents is automatically numbered 0 through the maximum number, then the index associated with every item in the list has a built-in number of 0, 1, 2, 3, and so forth, with the first item having the number 0. The selected index property will keep track of what the user has selected. That is, if the user selects an item, for example at runtime, if I select the second item in the list, which is Sue, the selected index for Sue is 1. Since Sam is 0, Sue is 1, John is 2, and so forth. So as I change my selections and choose a different item, invisible to the user, the selected index is being changed. If the user does not make a selection, then the selected index is said to be -1. This is significant when you start manipulating applications that involve list boxes and combo boxes. These will also be discussed in a separate movie. But it's important now to recognize that this property does exist. Another property that you want to be aware of is the items.count property. The count property will automatically keep track of how many items are in the list. That is, you do not have to actually perform the mathematical operation to add the items. You simply need to access the item called items.count. A quick demonstration of this items.count property is shown by adding a button along with a label to display the result of the items.count property. Now, of course, if this were a complete application, I'd want to rename each of these, but for the sake of time, we'll just leave the default names of button 1 and label 1. Opening the button 1 procedure, I can now write code that will display into label 1 the result of my names list box dot items dot count. You'll notice as I finish this line of code that there is an error in that the option strict on does not allow a conversion between integer and string. That is, by default, the text property of label 1 is considered a string, so therefore I need to simply add the toString method to convert the items count to a string so it can be displayed in the label. So to run the program and simply click the button, you now see that the number 6 is displayed in the label. That is because I have 6 items in my names list box. So the item.count property is a very handy property to use, and again, it's worth noting no math is necessary on your part. You simply need to know that the count property exists and is available for your use at all times.